Hello and welcome to North Country Matters. My name is Donna Seymour. I'm a member of the St. Lawrence County League of Women Voters, one of the civic partners for this show. Today we're doing our final conversation with a candidate for the 2018 election season, and our candidate is Kaitlin Tyndall. Kaitlin is the challenger for St. Lawrence County District 8, which takes in, I've got a map here of it, it takes in part of the town of Canton and all of the town of Madrid, right?
Yes, so, and a little bit of Potsdam.
A little bit of Potsdam. Yeah, there is a little bit of Potsdam, a little of the rural parts of Potsdam. So, conversations with candidates are designed to provide voter education that thoughtfully and civilly discusses the issues of public policy and governance vital to our community. They're nonpartisan, and they invite a candidate to come in and discuss his or her positions, records, and ideas away from the 30-second campaign ad and the discussion constraints of the debate format. And we had hosted the other candidate for District 8 a couple weeks ago, and both shows will be going up on our YouTube channel at the same time. So Kaitlin, thank you for coming in today. It's nice to have you come in and have this chance to talk a little bit about the issues in the county and introduce yourself to folks. And go right ahead and do that. Give folks your little introductory spiel about who you are and what you hope to accomplish.
Okay, my name's Kaitlin Tyndall. I was born and raised in Madrid, New York. I went to SUNY Potsdam for a couple years, and then I transferred to SUNY Plattsburgh, actually, where I graduated with a communication systems and disorders degree, which is speech therapy. I returned home and felt a little stuck. There wasn't very many jobs, in this area. I didn't really know what to do at that point. So I had started with Sunmount and got my foot in the door there and enjoyed it. But ultimately, I didn't like the hours, so I moved on to BOCES, where I now am in the classroom with the little autistic ones all day in the ABA program, and definitely found my passion there. I really enjoy working with them, and working with them I see firsthand the issues with education that we have, and I started to feel like, maybe this is something that I can help with, some of these issues that I complained about. I've always been involved in politics a little bit with my dad, helping out with certain campaigns, actually with Tedra's legislature campaign. And I figured, why not give it a shot? I can be a nice fresh voice in there with some new ideas, and really passionate about this area. I came home and this is where I settled with my fiance and his 2 children. So I want to make the best of it, and I want to try and fix some of these issues. Like I said, like our drug problem is my main goal, because we all see it all day, every day, and it's something that affects everybody in this county. So
so you've talked a little bit about what inspired you to run for the legislature. You're one of 9 women who are running this year for St. Lawrence County Legislature on the board. And 4 years ago, no women were elected. One did end up getting appointed to fill out a term. That was Lisa Bell in District 15. So do you see bringing gender balance to the St. Lawrence County Board as something that is an important part of your campaign?
I think so, yes. That definitely gave me a big push to do it, because I was undecided for a couple months. I wasn't really sure, and I went to some meetings and met the other women that are running, and every time I was at a meeting when I first got there, I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to do this. But then hearing everybody talk and everybody else so passionate about it, it pulls you in, and yeah, to have all those women to run alongside you.
So you were inspired by them as well?
Yes, definitely. And I think it brings, having a nice balance of men and women brings different perspectives to the table.
Well, and the other thing that you would also bring if you get elected is you're a younger demographic than a lot of the members who are currently on the board.
Right.
And is also important to bring in that a youthful perspective, do you think?
Yes, I think so. And I like to consider myself pretty open-minded, and I do believe that other people my age and my generation are a lot more likely. I mean, I've heard from them saying, we need fresh, younger people in there also. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, and that's certainly something that we've seen the last couple of years. Younger women in the county have started to run for office. We have 2 young women who just ran in the town and village of Potsdam last year and got elected. So you certainly are part of a trend. Yeah. At least in the sense that you're willing to throw your hat in the ring.
That's right.
So what do you see, Kaitlin, as the critical issues that are facing the county right now that you think as a legislator you could have some impact on?
Like I said, our opioid epidemic that we have, I know people in my family and my fiance's family that have been affected, and it's sad. It brings this whole area down, and it hinders newer possibilities that can come into this area. And I really think we need to look into some treatment options, some better treatment options for these individuals, and not treat them like criminals and kind of just throw them in jail and say, okay, get sober. And I think we need to treat them as our neighbors and our friends, and need to be a voice and need to help them get on their feet, because a lot of times they just don't have anybody, and so they just are stuck in this cycle of being saved with Narcan, being in jail, being out, and then they just don't get the proper help that they truly need.
Right, and the whole issue of addiction and dependency is so complicated anyway, and it's not just a physical side, there's psychological, and certainly it comes down to mental health, which we all know there's not enough mental health facilities either. No. So do you agree with the current board who has had signed the county up with other counties in New York State who are suing the pharmaceutical companies as a part of the cause of opioid addiction? Do you think that suit is a correct way to start looking at the problem?
I don't know if a suit is the correct way to start. I do believe that pharmaceutical companies are more concerned with their pockets than the individuals that they're helping. So that is an issue that we probably do need to tackle, but I don't know. I think coming at them by suing them is more of an attack, not trying to, work with them or, yeah.
Okay. You've identified opioids as one of the public health concerns in the county. Do you see other public health concerns that St. Lawrence County has that you think the board can have an effect on? And if so, what might they be?
Right, I think, like you said, mental health. I need to learn more about that, but I mean, me myself, I suffer anxiety myself, so I know what it's like, and I know the stigma against it, and so I do believe that side of public health needs to be looked at too, whether it be more treatment options or just eliminating that stigma. I mean, almost everybody has anxiety or depression, or gets a little overwhelmed and stressed every once in a while, and they're just looked at as weak as opposed to just kind of going through something and needing some extra help.
Right. Okay, well, thank you. One of the things I want to talk to you about, Kaitlin, is the social safety net. Every year, St. Lawrence County's budget, the Department of Social Services, that's a big chunk of where the county's money goes, and rightly so, because poverty is a real problem in this county, and it goes through the entire range from young kids who are in families that can't afford to give them everything they need, and many of our elderly are also suffering from poverty. So what ideas do you have along the lines of what the county should be doing for that population, and how do we pay for it, because it is such an important and a big area of our budget? Right.
I think, well, we can, it's not always just the county too that pays for it. We do also receive, for social services, they receive state aid as well, but a lot of those individuals working in social services, their caseloads are just overwhelming, and it's very hard for them to keep up with their own workload. And then you have people from the outside not understanding. They go, well, we're giving all this money to them, why aren't they solving these problems? I think there's probably some areas within there that we can hire more people to organize this a little bit better, and organize the money a little bit better, and see where it's going and exactly what it is paying for.
So you would agree that the county would probably need to look at hiring more staff in certain areas in order to meet the needs that are out there?
Yes.
Are there other departments besides social services that you think probably need help?
Maybe, but not that I haven't been informed of at the point.
Well, we know from recent good news that the St. Lawrence County is no longer fiscally stressed. It's off that comptroller's list, and the board has balanced the budget, and in fact we have a pretty good fund balance right now. And what's interesting, I think, about that is that a lot of people want to talk about property taxes, but really the property taxes at the county level are very small compared to property taxes at the town or the school level.
Right.
So it's not, the county taxes themselves are not a huge burden, but the county has raised taxes in other ways that may be a burden, and one of those ways is sales tax. We went from 3 to 4% for the county sales tax within this last 4 years. That hits the poorest people in the county the hardest because they have the fewest number of resources to devote.
Right.
Do you think that we should look at other ways to raise revenue besides property taxes or sales tax?
Yes, I think we can this is a beautiful area, and I think we have such an opportunity to bring new things into this area that can generate more money, so we don't have to raise the taxes and things like that, because you figure if we bring in more things, that's bringing in more people, like the Bassmasters and things like that. And every time these people come into our county, they're leaving money behind, and that only helps us more, bring in more things and bring in more people.
So what are your ideas along that line? What might we go out and attract people here to do?
We have wonderful outdoor opportunities in this area, like I said, Bassmasters. And I also think, even in Madrid, there's lots of little businesses coming up. We have a kayak business in town where you can rent kayaks and go out on the river. We live so close to the Adirondacks. I think really focusing on outdoor tourism would bring a lot more people into this area so they can enjoy, how gorgeous this area is that we get to enjoy.
Okay, and one other area of taxes, St. Lawrence County charges sales tax on home heating oil. New York State does not. In fact, this was actually the subject of last week's North Country This Week survey, and 89% of an unscientific slice of the county agreed that it would be nice to get rid of that tax. Where do you stand on that tax?
I think it would be nice to get rid of any taxes that are unnecessary. I do believe there's probably some taxes that are necessary, but I think we can look into eliminating taxes that are unnecessary.
Okay. One of the things that we've talked about with some of the other candidates is that as they have gone out and met people in their district, they discovered that not very many people know who their county legislator is.
Yes.
Is that what you found?
Yes. A lot of people don't even know exactly what the county legislature does.
Okay.
I get that a lot too. So if you win, what exactly will you be doing? and the follow-up is always, well, so who is my county legislature? There are more than what I thought there would be that do know who my opponent is and who their legislative.
Well, this seems to be a problem across the board. It isn't certainly just in your district. No. So you've been talking with people about that, obviously, as the campaign has gone on. What are the kinds of things you're hearing from folks? What are their concerns?
Taxes are always the first thing that people ask me about, and I of course love to keep them as low as possible. The drug issue, but some of the other issues that they bring up are issues that I will never sit down and vote on. They're more state level issues too. Right. So, but I think that goes back to them not knowing, what the county legislature is.
So one of the things that you've done is you've met people in the district is have you thought about how you're going to stay in contact with folks if you do win? How do you make sure that they have that connection to the state legislature the county legislature and actually feel like they know what you do and what can be done? Right. What can be done is really the big one, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I just have to make sure I continue to get out there meeting people. I can't use, campaign's done, so I don't need to go door to door. Afterwards, I may not necessarily need to go door to door, But I think I still need to make sure I am out there in my district, people know who I am, people have my contact info and they can get a hold of me anytime that they have questions or want to send me letters or anything like that.
Well, one of the things that we've talked about with everybody is the kind of tribalism that we're seeing, particularly at the national level in politics. In fact, I just read a poll today that people are so concerned by the rancor of the political discourse right now with less than a week to go before the election, and they're afraid that's going to spill over into violence. And so what can you tell folks about how you feel about working across the aisle? Because obviously there will be a mix of folks who are on the board, and we don't know who's going to be in the numbers wise, which party is going to be in dominance. So you're going to have to work with other folks.
Yes.
What's your philosophy about that?
I'm great at working with other people, and that's been one of my frustrating things. Is I have encountered people that are like, oh, I'm a Republican, you're a Democrat, and they just won't even speak to me. And I think we really need to break that barrier down. And just because you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat, doesn't mean that we don't have some of the same values and the same issues and the same goals that we want to work on. And I think we really just need to break out of that, I'm a Democrat, you're a Republican, and we need to work together. I mean, we're all living here together, we're all serving the same people, and we don't just need to get along.
Well, the truth is in this county that you have about a third of people, registered voters are Democrats, a third are Republicans, and a third have chosen no party. Mm-hmm. So there really is a big group in the middle who really haven't identified.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that often it feels like no one speaks for.
Right. Yes, that is true. Yeah. I think there's nothing to say that Republicans or Democrats can't still speak for them on some of the issues, because like I said, we probably have a lot of the same, the same things that we want to fix and the same goals.
Well, one of the things that we've heard throughout this series is the same challenges. And the opioid crisis is one that every single candidate has mentioned. Taxes is another. So there is a lot of common ground out there.
Yes, there is. I think, I don't know if people just aren't open-minded enough to just sit down and still discuss it. They automatically think, oh, you're on the other side, so you're never going to agree with me, so why even get into it? I think, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me why we all can't just,
Well,
agree.
I think we'd like to see that change at every level.
Yes,
and
definitely. Local
local politics is a good place to start because we do have problems to solve, and you're not going to solve them if you won't talk to people.
Right.
That's for sure. So, Kaitlin, as we start to wrap up here, what do you want people to think about you? What do you want them to know about you as they head to the polls? Why should voters in District 8 vote for you? What do you want them to know about you?
I will work hard. I am no stranger to work. I've worked multiple jobs since I was old enough to work. Went to school full time. So I am always willing to be out there to learn new things. I miss school sometimes actually because I do like to learn new things and I like to challenge myself. And I think that I will always be able to make myself available to you if you need anything from me and have any questions about anything, because a lot of this is very, very confusing and sometimes people don't know who to turn to when they have an issue with the county. And I would like to be a nice face to come to be able to help.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in today. We appreciate that. A reminder to our viewers that Election Day is on November 6th, which is less than a week away. And if you, for some reason, will not be in the county, you can always go to the Board of Elections and get an absentee ballot. In fact, I voted by absentee ballot yesterday because we're not going to be around next week. And it's a very easy process to do, and that way your vote counts. And the truth is that elections are decided by the people who vote, so you want to make sure that your vote does count. I just want to say a word of thanks to all the candidates who have come into this fall for conversations with candidates. It's been a real learning experience for us, and I certainly hope for our audience as well. And after having watched a few debates from other candidates who were not actually part of North Country Matters, I think we have provided some real voter education in a very civic and civil way, which is not always, unfortunately, the hallmark of some debates. So thanks for everybody who has watched these and who has, we hope we've helped you make good decisions about who you vote for. So thank you for coming in, Kaitlin.
Thank you.
These conversations are a production of North Country Matters, which is filmed here in the Fred W. Cleveland Computer Center of the Potsdam Public Library. This shows a civic collaboration between the League of Women Voters of St. Lawrence County and the American Association of University Women and the Potsdam Public Library. Until next time, remember, our North Country Matters, and go vote. Kaitlin, thanks a lot for coming in.